What is going on, guys? My name is Sean Barnard, and today I'm here with bettingnj.com. I'm here to break down Bet365 Sportsbook and Casino. Here to take you through the pros and cons of the Sportsbook app, how you go about the registration process, depositing money, and anything else that you could possibly want to know about the Sportsbook. Before I dive fully into it, I would like to recommend that you guys check out bettingnj.com. This does have the same thing that I'm discussing today. It has the same topic in article form that will go a little more in depth as far as the breakdown, what to expect. And if you have any specific questions, it is a great place to reference and make sure that your questions are answered here. But for the most part, I will covering a lot of the same content when it comes to taking you guys through, figuring out what you need to know about the sportsbook, and just laying out expectations for the site as a whole. So let's get right into it and pull up Bet365 right here. New Jersey has been one of the more progressive states when it comes to the legalization of sports gambling, and have been quick to roll out the legislation to make sure a lot of sportsbooks are available. Bet365 is one of these options, and here is a look at the interface here. It is a pretty sleek design when it comes to that mint green, that yellow font that they have for a lot of their titling, as well as the white. I do like the layout of the sportsbook as a whole. This is a general look as what the layout is as a whole. And the first thing that you're want to go to do once you get to this stage, which is nj.bet365.com, is you're going to want to go to the join button in the top right. So this will take you through how to register. You will be asked to type in your first name, last name, verify your identity, give some contact information, as well as verify your location to make sure you're within the state's legal boundaries. Another thing that I'd like to point out is it will ask, as you can see at the bottom here, for a bonus code. This brings up what I was talking about in regards to the promo codes. That's an awesome way to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck and maximizing your potential earnings. The best way to capitalize on that and the most lucrative offers that a sportsbook will give is when you are doing your sign up process. So that is when there are the most friendly offers on the table. That is the best way to maximize your earnings while minimizing your risk. And the best way to do that specifically is by logging on to bettingnj.com to make sure that we have a link directly to make sure that you're not missing out on anything. And as these offers constantly rotate, sportsbooks are constantly putting out new ones that we can stay up on the tabs, make sure that you guys have the best direction possible. So it is a one-stop shop at bettingnj.com to make sure that you are getting the best bang for your buck there. Now let's take a look that once we are logged in, here's a look at the sportsbook itself. So now that we're logged in, let's take a look at the first thing. So the first thing you're going to want to go is deposit money. So you can see there is a deposit button right next to it, and this will take it through. As far as the options for what you can use to deposit there, fairly standard when it comes to Bet365. That does accept credit cards, debit card, the PayPal, online banking via Trustly, a Pay Near Me, a Pay Safe card, Skrill, and then cash at retail locations. So fairly diverse options here. And this is, of course, you can see the screen here, and you just change the type at the top here. So if you want to, for example, go with PayPal, you can simply click on that. If it's a Pay Safe card, a Pay Near Me, a Visa, you just scroll through and switch at the top here. Also pretty cool that it does offer Skrill. You can see that is not available on all sportsbooks app. So something of note there. So let's say you go through and that you do place make the deposit there, and then we head back out to the home screen here. Now I want to start by looking at some of the options and the availability of wagers on the website itself. So this is for sure the computer version of it. This is not the mobile app whatsoever, but it is a very similar design and very similar usage. So as you can see on the left side, you can scroll through what direction or what area you want to find your wager in. There's NFL, MLB, NCAA football, WNBA, baseball, and then a ton of other options. It has a frequently visited for things that you bet often that can come in handy and saving some time rather than scrolling. And there are still some examples of more diverse or more niche categories to wager on, such as Australian rules football, Formula One, handball, MMA, things like that. Snooker, if that's your thing, virtual sports, volleyball. So there are a good amount of options when it comes to things. Let's begin by clicking this NFL category and taking a look at how you place a wager here. So as you can see, each of the matchups for the Week 4 slate are on the screen here. Let's begin by looking at the Eagles here. So the Eagles are 8-point favorites to the Washington Commanders, the undefeated Eagles. Those are minus 110 odds. The odds themselves are pretty standard here on Bet365, and what I mean by that is that it tends to be a minus 110 split each way for things like the spread or the total, the over-under there. There are some options where that will change. For example, if you look right above here with the Saints and Buccaneers, now the Saints are 3-point favorites at minus 120 odds, while the Bucs are 3-point underdogs at plus 100. So it is not always the case, but Bet365, it does tend to be pretty standard here. But let's say we want to jump in on this Eagles line here. We click that -8, and then it pops right here on your bet slip right in front of you. So no switching screens, no scrolling over to the right in front of you when you click something that pops up. And then to place a wager, you just click in the set wager button and type how much you want to drop. So if I'm going to put $11 of risk, that would be place a bet to return $21. And then you simply click the place bet button there. And it is as simple as that. Another thing that I want to touch on is parlays. We know that parlays have become increasingly popular due to the massive payouts that can be won with them. And it is very easy to use here on Bet365. So if I'm going to keep that -8 for the Eagles here, let's say I feel good about the Buccaneers going +3 against the Saints, I'm going to click that as well. And as you can see that the parlay is already doing the math. It is already combining. It's already right there at +281 odds. But let's throw another one here. Let's say I'm feeling real wild that I think the Cowboys have the potential to be upset once again this week by the New England Patriots. So it's 7-point underdogs on the -120 line there. I'm not even taking that. I'm going money line at +240 for the Patriots to get the win over the Dallas Cowboys. So as you can see, it combines those together yet there. It is a three-leg parlay, just under +1,200 in value, so +1,198, and is the same process for placing a wager here. That you simply just type the amount, and in this case, this would be a $10 wager to leave a potential payout of $129.81, and then you simply just click the place bet button there. Boom. So that is how you go about it. Couple other things that I think are cool features here on Bet365. Number one is this little button here. So if we're going to go back to this Eagles game here and I'm going to click on this, this will take you to another screen that I'm going to make sure I share with you here so you guys are not missing this. But it gives you some more details. This is something that I think Bet365 has a massive advantage of. Is look at the details once I click on that, where it takes you through, that it just gives you an outlook into some betting statistics. For example, all time between Philadelphia and Washington, the Eagles have won 53 times. Washington won 47 in the 100 games played since 1974. 58% form versus 83% form. I believe that's how they're playing. And this breaks down the recent meetings. So it gives you a little window into things, some more information. Obviously, it is extremely important to make the most informed betting opinions possible. So I do think it's very nice that Bet365 offers that right there on the website itself. But let's circle back and take a look at some more wagers. We're going to jump back to this main screen here and jump into things. So another area that I did want to point out is if you click on that game directly, not quite as in-depth as that other screen, but there are some more options or different ways of looking at things here. And it gives you some more options for different promotions you might want to capitalize on, game lines, three-ways, some features, things like that. So I do like that. I think for the most part, a lot of sports books have a very, designed way of looking at it, and that's it. It feels like from Bet365, there's a more customizable way of viewing each matchup, each game from a lines perspective and things like that. And the other thing that should be noted here is we are still on the main markets area that you can click across. There is the same game parlay if you want to tie in a bunch of wagers in this Eagles Commanders game. There's also some main props, some score props, some team props, some half props. So they do have some prop bets when it comes to other things. There's not the full extensive list of the available player props at this point in time. It is still early at the week at the point of this recording. So those will continue to pop up as things closer. But to give an example of that, let's swing over to the MLB odds and click down here on the Phillies versus Pirates. So the Phillies versus Pirates, Aaron Nola on the hill for the Phillies. The Phillies are -180 on the money line, +110 on the run line at -1.5. And that's going to a game that I'm going to click on here. So I'm going to click over to the player props option. This is something that I want to show you guys. So as you can see, as I mentioned, Aaron Nola on the mound, over 6.5 strikeouts at -140 odds. Big game for Nola as the playoffs inch closer. And you just wager this in the same exact way that you would go in. Let's say I'm feeling super confident. I'll put $28. So 28 to win 48 for Aaron Nola to have at least 7 strikeouts today. But it is the same exact process. And as you can see, there's a number of other options that you can wager on from the prop standpoint. Allowed earned runs, pitcher hits allowed, pitcher walks, player runs milestones, player home runs, just about everything that you could possibly look for. I do think it is a pretty extensive list here at bet365.com. So I have been impressed with the note of that. As far as a whole, I do think it does a nice job of finishing off the betting experience, of giving all the available options that sports bettors could look for. I will give it a passing grade and recommend Bet365 for sportsbook fans that are looking to get involved. I do think it does a pretty good job from the bonus vicinity. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 in that category for the generous offers that it does for when you're starting out and when you're around. It does do a nice job of rotating out some odds boosts and other just bonuses that are not always the case across all sportsbook apps. So that is something to note and in the favor of Bet365. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 for the payment options. A little bit more diverse than some of the other sports books. There still is a ways to go, and I would like to see it extend into things like Venmo, Cash App, things like that to make sure it's as easy as possible for users. But for the most part, I do think Bet365 does a nice job of making sure there is a diverse option for users. I'll give it just a 3 out of 5 for the sportsbook app. I do think I've heard some bad experiences, most specifically with the Android version of the app. The app tends to perform quite well on Apple devices, but Android users have had some issues. I also think that there are just some examples of it being a little messy or being a little difficult to find specific wagers, which can be frustrating if you're in a time crunch or just, sick of looking for it. So I do think I'll take a little bit of a points off there. I do think that there are other sportsbooks that have a little bit cleaner design when it comes to the functionality of it. But I will give it a 5 out of 5 for the variety and features, that there is a wide ranging number of sports to bet on and wide ranging amount of wagers regarding those specific sports, including things like the player props and everything else of that vicinity. And I'll also give it a 5 out of 5 when it comes to customer support. That the customer support section of the website is very thorough, and there's a ton of ways to get connected to a real person when help is needed. So obviously, ideally, that things roll smoothly. You never truly need help, but things happen. Life happens, and odds are that will likely come up at one point or another. And I'm confident that the customer support at Bet365 will be satisfactory. So appreciate you guys for watching this video. Once again, click the link in the description to get more in-depth breakdown of what I'm talking to. But I would recommend Bet365 as a successful sportsbook platform for sports fans everywhere. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll talk with you next time. Peace.